What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Hope you're doing well. And the picture looks like we have tapped this order block and we have actually found reaction for Bitcoin at around $91,000. You can see there is a institutional order block here in the green. That's what we came down to. And again, that level goes all the way back to 88. But the market is showing its hand. Extreme fear persists across the market, guys. This is the first time we're seeing extreme fear read at 15. Now, interestingly, back in April, and most of us actually, crypto did pump from there. But this was April's extreme fear showing, and we are just entering the first day. Yesterday was 18, and overall, the market is in pure panic, largely to do with what the Fed is doing. Okay. It feels like a million miles away when they say, fear and greed index read 18 yesterday. But in the future, we may see a breakaway from a market reading based on fear and greed alone, and we may start to see some fundamentals coming in. Now, of course, what was the big narrative in November? The big narratives in November were stablecoin regulations, and of course, not only stable coins, but crypto regulation in the US, check. There was the Tau halving. And I want to talk about Tau real quick because I did an experiment last month, I think 2 months ago, back 2 months ago. I had a bag of $50,000, right? And the $50,000, 50K was split between 25K for Tau, right? For Tau, and 25 for alts. Now, if I look back at the performance of this was ridiculous. The performance here was like, okay, Tau is up by something like 10% or whatever it was. From the entry, while the rest of the bags are down by 35%. That's absolute insanity, right? So my point is this: while people tell you to ignore assets like this, right? People tell you to ignore these because at the end of the day, it's not in their best interest to get you to win. It's maybe the best interest to actually give you something that is an ultra low cap where you basically don't make any money on it at the end of the day, right? But that experiment has been absolutely tremendous. And when you look at the overall ecosystem, I mean, look, you could argue, you could say, for example, Shoots is up. Let's see here. You have Targon slightly down, but there are Ridges AI, which is down ever so slightly. But you're seeing this with Tau ecosystem plays. And of course, you are seeing some projects come in, proprietary trading network. Tau is so misunderstood, guys, that it's unbelievable. People haven't grasped what the hell is going on here. But with my own experiment, I wish I would have put more of that money into Tau, because this would have been a much better place to, being 10% up as opposed to being 35% down on coins. That's just an indication. But this is one of the ideas that I have. Again, it's not giving me much of an opportunity. So if we're in a bear market, those that have fundamentals, you should be able to have a bear market hit list. Now, I have said there are two places in crypto where you will definitely get the next $1 trillion asset class. One is RWA, and the other one is, so if you look at, for example, not just Tau, but if you look at, for example, AI plus Deepin, right? So AI and Deepin plus RWA equals crypto, in my opinion. Yes, we have memes and we have all of the ability to trade those, but this is crypto 101. This is where the next 5-10 years of crypto is going to be. That doesn't mean you go and buy Ondo Finance because you think Ondo Finance is going to outperform everything else. In fact, the stock market is already here, right? So you are seeing Ondo Finance and these other platforms have basically the ability and the resources to compete for the next set of business on-chain activities. Now, one thing that I'm going to talk about here very quickly, no one's talking about this. So one catalyst was regulation. The next catalyst was whatever happened to ISO 2022, right? Because ISO 2022 here, all of a sudden, no one's talking about it. Yeah. All of a sudden, no one's talking about it purely because the ISO narrative is going under the radar on the basis that a lot of people just gave up on it. They think it's not going to happen. And what was supposed to happen by November, 80% of banks, right? 80% of banks were supposed to be on ISO 2022. Okay. So if that hasn't happened yet, why hasn't it happened, or has it already happened? What do you know about what's going on here with this adoption? So for the first time in 40, 50 years, right, the banking system, okay, so the BS is going through change, right? Is going through some change. What's happening is Swift, which is slow, cumbersome, and takes ages to transmit a transaction with a lot more clunky paperwork. If you haven't seen the Bangladeshi bank hack, where they literally just forgot to do, they stole, was it $1 billion or whatever it was, and they forgot, due to a typo, they couldn't complete the transaction. This is a revolutionary new standard. Okay, yeah, you may argue you've got ADA Cardano here, you've got Ripple as always, you've got Linear that's been talked about. But what we see in here, guys, is this is the start for me of crypto becoming absolutely mainstream. So you have all of these financial pillars. Right now, we are going through what's known as the phony war. Okay, so what we're seeing is this phony war. Imagine this is 1914 in the Western Front, and you have two lines of trenches. You have the bulls, you have the bears and the bulls, right? So what you see in here is the DMC. Right now, people are being psyched out to leave the market. And if you have a long-term conviction, I've just showed you what a long-term conviction would have done for me in the kind of $50,000 investment that I've been talking about. But what you're seeing here, guys, is for the first time, we are seeing the financial system here, and we're seeing blockchain, and they're coming together to give us a completely new way of transacting. And why do I know that? Why do I say that? Well, a couple of things. One, we have regulations. We have regulations, guys. So we have regulations, and this is why this cycle, in my opinion, is going to go to a 5-year cycle. Okay, that nobody can stop that. And the 5-year cycle, if we actually break this down a little bit more, also means that we are seeing, of course, the US, we're seeing the Fed right now going into a new liquidity direction. Now, whenever this happens, it doesn't, money doesn't appear on the system instantly. The Fed's new direction. So this is why I haven't called a bear market just yet. Okay. We have the Fed calling a new, I'll say 5-year cycle, the Fed calling for new liquidity. We are seeing mass adoption, right? We're seeing mass adoption. If you haven't checked your Solana wallet, you will see a credit card. Linear has a credit card now, MetaMask, you name it, right? Zebec, every project is kind of pushing the credit cards. So 5-year cycle for the first time. Why? Because we're also looking at the traditional market, and this is what we're looking at. So at some point, the house will come crashing down regardless of what coin you hold. But the main difference will be the type of coin you hold will give you some kind of a ability to bounce back. So 18-year cycle comes in here. So you had it in 1953, you had it in 1971, 89, 2007. Now this 2005 crash or correction, right? Or the curse for winner's curse. So what we're seeing here, we're seeing this phase, which is where we are. But if you look at these dates, cycle peaks 1954, 1972, 1990, 2008, and bang, 2006, right? 26. So 2026 is likely to be the top of the 18-year real estate cycle, and it's also likely to be the top of this current bull market. Okay, and these recession years, right? This is so fascinating, guys. You know, I really want you to smash a like and share this video with many people. So 1955 to 58, 73 to 76, 91 to 94, 2009 to 2012, 2027 to 2030. Wow. Guess what happens here? We have US elections in 2028, right? So 2028 bear market, 2027 bear market also. And this is going to be a different type of bear market. This bear market is going to crash people, right? But right now, what we are seeing is we are not there yet. And if you pay a closer attention, this has always been very, very accurate in predicting bull markets and bear markets. So we need to go outside the traditional crypto scene to be able to understand where we can actually make money, and periods of the market where we cannot make money. So to give you an understanding, and big shout out to Nansen.ai, that's why you're seeing crazy accumulation of stable coins by people like these people like Arthur Hayes. And even if we refresh this, we may see what today's flow is. I'm not scared about the current dip. I'm more scared about how the people will be forced out and how many people will capitulate by next year. So right now, all eyes on this level. As you can see here, if I can zoom in for you, this is a crucial level, and look how we tapped into that $90,000 level. Okay, if we get above 102 to 103, business is back on, or get above the moving average, business will be back on. If not, then I'd consider this as a short bear market. Now, what do you do in a short bear market? Now, overall, I don't throw money into the market unless I specifically believe the reversal is going to happen here. But SUI, if we just look through the projects, SUI at 165. Again, SUI is coming down a little bit more, in my opinion, between 140 to 150. But look at this, say, right? I've always said to you guys, what does a chart like this represent? Well, the bottom, whether it's beam, whether it's say, whether it's near protocol. This is unbelievable. And near has actually pumped last week, volume spike here. But it looks like it's pretty much at the lows. Could we come back some more? Maybe below $2? Potentially. Solana is being absolutely battered. And you can see here, Solana's got to regain at this level here around that 180, 175 level. And of course, the big one that should be moving is XRP because of ISO, because of the fact that XRP now has several ETFs filed. And that's the other thing as well, guys. There are several ETFs filed for cryptocurrencies right now, spot ETFs, which are all to do with altcoins. But when you have your large caps, this is AVAX, went to 35, 40 bucks, 36 bucks. And right now is back, more than 50, 60% crash. But look at this. These charts are in their bear market phase, in my opinion. With the exception of Bitcoin Tau, like I said, this is outperforming Bitcoin by a large mile, even though right now it's coming into a very key support level. I'd imagine Tau will hold here because the 2-day crossover here is completely to the bottom on the RSI. Okay, let's have a look at IMX. Again, gaming has been off, but this is also the chart of Beam. They look like each other and replicate each other. There is no gaming season right now. I have a sneaky feeling that this stuff will be timed with GTA 6 for sure. Okay, so Kaspa here. Kaspa is and will always be. I mean, there was that whole listing thing with Binance and Jonathan. That didn't quite work out. I see Kaspa coming down a little bit more. Okay, $4,200 or $4,200 for $100,000 Kaspa. Good one to watch. Render below $2. This is below its worst ever performance here in recent times. Bear market lows, really, for this particular chart. I believe this is the Binance chart for futures. Look at Arkham Intelligence, something that we use every single day. I think that's a decent project. Bitcoin Cash is always holding very, very strong, by the way. But I can see Bitcoin Cash maybe falling a little bit more to this $320 level. Chart structure looks bullish. Total market cap. Again, this is a very interesting chart here. Total 3 minus USDT divided by BTC. Very, very low. However, we are actually seeing a decent reaction here. But I can see the RSI is totally oversold. So don't be fooled over there. Russell 2000 are mirrored to the total 2. Hasn't broken out. Has topped here back in, you know, kind of like is spiked up in October, sorry, and September. But ever since, you know, it's kind of come back down. Could we see more pressure there? 1,766 has been a kind of bear market low, in my opinion, for the Russell 2000, which is mirrored by the stock market. Asta, which is completely propped up by Binance, is sitting well over $1 now. This was at 90 cents last week. So again, when something is kind of managed in terms of the stage presence, like this coin here, you know, people are making money because people are longing and shorting. Are they below 200? BNB below 1,000, currently sitting at these lows here. And that's just about it for me. I'm going to wrap it up here. But all I would say to you is watch this video very carefully. Understand why we're in the current predicament and see when the Fed flips, liquidity comes in. Prepare for the long term. Buy good quality bags. And the rest is history, guys. Take care. Let me know your comments and I'll see you on the next one.